You probably heard, if you listened to the previous entry about me trying to be helpful, I mentioned Beautiful Barb, one of my female elders. She came into my life when I was 10 days clean and sober. Um, I used to drink with my elders and prior to getting clean and sober in 1995, and at 10 days clean and sober, I was sitting with my knees up to my chest in a recovery meeting. I looked like a hooker, but I felt like a nun. You know, my skirts were very short, my tops were very low. I made people like, Pamela Anderson look conservative, and, Pamela Anderson also is a survivor of sexual abuse. I think I talk about her with great respect and compassion because, many clients like myself, especially females that have their sexuality walk into the room as armour before their heart does. We often do that because it's our native tongue. And some of the clients that I work with that are highly paid escorts, both men and women, but some of the sex workers I've worked with and myself, and there is a dimension of women that come across as highly sexualized like myself, that use their sexual energy as armory and punishment, and it's a distractor. And I was sexualized before I could really verbalize very well, and I had nowhere to store that. I didn't know I was being sexualized. It was just a part of my persona that got worked prematurely. And if you look at Russian Olympians and gymnasts, often those amazing girls in 13 and 14, when they're reaching puberty, when they're doing amazing things on the horizontal bars and rings, they've been doing that since they were 4. They've been doing that since they were they could walk, and that is why they become elite at that. It's that part of their humanity that got overworked, and that's why they're exceptional. And so for many people like myself that have been sexualized before they could talk, it becomes their native tongue. It's how they connect first. And by the time they reach puberty and adolescence, they crank it up a few gears, and it becomes a very effective tool to keep the heart safe. And when I was 10 days clean and sober, sitting on a chair, shaking with a very short skirt on at age 33, I'm now, nearly 52, so it was quite a few years ago. And Beautiful Barb was sitting next to me in this recovery meeting, and a lot of the other women were scowling at me, saying I was giving off sexual energy and what I was wearing was inappropriate, and they were probably right. But Beautiful Barb sat next to me, and I had an instant crush on her because when she spoke, my heart lights came on. She had this energy that was like baked bread and a soft, fresh pink rose. And I just wanted to put my head on her lap and have her tell me stories and have her tell me it was going to be okay. And she had been where I'd been with her addiction. But she was still married, and she was a mum and had a son. And she had an extended family that hadn't hit the hills. And I wanted to learn how to do some of that. I wanted to learn how to be feminine and elegant and be attractive without feeling like an ashtray with my sexuality. Anyway, I remember she touched me on the knee and she said, "Love, would you like a cup of coffee?" And I couldn't speak, I just nodded. And those women, there weren't many, but there were some women in that recovery group that came up to her and told her that I needed to wear, skirts with a lower hemline and tops with a higher bust line. And I remember Barbara saying to me, she basically told them to fuck off, to step back, and ask them to review their connection to the sisterhood. Obviously, I was very wounded and very fragile, and I didn't need more shame. I already had enough on board. So she's been one of my female elders who has been able to share a pocket of life with me and speak from the heart. And when she talks still, she's still today my primary female elder, 19 years down the track. And her and I have held hands one day at a time and not picked up drinks. And she didn't use drugs like I did, but we've stayed sober. And so she has been able to tell me stories, and she's a bit older than me. And she's been able to be a lantern bearer and walk ahead and just hold the light for me. She doesn't tell me what to do or how. She just helps me mind my step. And I hope my vlogs as we talk about all the tricky subjects in life, I can help you hear your heart and look after it just a little bit more.